Well, they've done it again, created an unregulated tool, making it easier than ever for people to spend what they don't have, all for Wall Street and big banks' gain and your and my pain, masking the truth of what's going on in the economy, making it appear like the consumer is strong and growth is on the rise, when in reality, Americans are drowning in debt. What am I talking about? 4 words: buy now, pay later.
Tonight, after months of staggering inflation and amid fears of a looming recession, the holiday shopping season is set to stretch Americans' budgets even more.
And if you've done any holiday shopping this season online, you've probably seen this option, and it looks innocent enough. You go to checkout and you see something there that says pay now or buy now and pay later. Could be as little as $50, could be $10,000, and you see that it's broken into 4 easy installments. No credit check required, no background, no nothing. It's just an option. You click it and it happens. They make it so incredibly easy. But is there something more going on? Well, let's take a look. So the unregulated boom in the buy now, pay later market. Now, this wasn't always an option. It's really gained popularity in the last few years, with this year being its biggest year ever. The reason why this is so concerning is there's barely any data or regulation, because as we know, whenever there's these new tools created and there's a lot of profit to be made, people tend to look the other way when it comes to regulation or protecting the average consumer, especially at a time when the economy needs to be showing that there's growth, and it's all based on how much we're spending. The holiday spending epidemic that is happening in our country. Experts are calling this phantom debt. Why? Because they can't see it. It's not included when we look at the debt picture of the average American household. You have your auto loans, your student loans, your credit card. But what we cannot see is how much people have with buy now, pay later, because again, there's no credit check being run, which means that many people who are taking advantage of this tool also might be those who are already maxed out or have exhausted their other options, meaning that there's even more risk being carried with this tool. That's when it becomes problematic here. So this year, and if you're wondering, well, how many people are really using this year, more shoppers than ever are using buy now, pay later options for purchases and installments. It forecasted here that for Cyber Monday, a single day of buy now, pay later, there was going to be over $1 billion done in buy now, pay later. $1 billion a day. Now that is not a small figure, and it is only gaining momentum. Now, some people, I was reading, are using this for financing their groceries or essentials, viewing it like a really favorable tool that they can use to get by in life. And I understand times are hard. So for that, I get it. But at the same time, we have to face the facts that a lot of people are not using it this way, and they're just spending more, especially when their other options are exhausted. In fact, the Journal of Marketing did a report showing that buy now, pay later increases consumer spending, a 9% increase in purchase likelihood and a 10% purchase increase in overall order sizes. Meaning, not only are they purchasing more, but they're buying even larger quantities when they're purchasing. So spending more on top of spending that you simply cannot afford. And this comes at a time when half of our country is still paying off last year's holiday spending, more than ever before in our history. And you just have to wonder, how much longer can we go on this way? Especially given the backdrop of what's happening with credit card delinquencies. In case you missed it, this week, the Federal Reserve Board report came out saying that credit card delinquencies rose to their highest level this year since 2010. Think about that for a second. Their highest level since 2010. So following the 2008 great financial crisis, that was the last time that delinquencies are as high as they are today. And not only that, people are taking on more debt that we can see. Forget about what we can't see, the buy now, pay later. We don't even know how over-leveraged people are right now. But credit card debt, which we can see, rose 6.7% during the third quarter, outstripping the average annual increase of 3.7% since 1998. Since 1998, the average increase has been 3.7%. We doubled that this year. So not only are people not able to pay it, but they are adding on more and more and more. And we know interest rates are so high. This is not going to end well. Now, do we think that those in power are doing anything about this? No, I'm guessing you answered no too. But it says here, despite the higher delinquencies, the central bank didn't sound the alarm with respect to the overall economy. Go figure. Household debt relative to U.S. gross domestic product is especially subdued relative to recent history. Is that so? I don't really understand how they're coming to that conclusion, but maybe it's just because they don't want to cause panic, because this article goes on to say the biggest U.S. credit card issuers include JP Morgan Chase, American Express, Citibank, and Capital One. The Fed then noted exposures in credit card loans remained concentrated in a few large banks that are subject to regular stress tests and are therefore better prepared to manage losses in their loan portfolios, better prepared. If we read between the lines on what they're telling us, are they suggesting that there are going to be losses, which I would agree with, and that there's going to be losses in big and small banks, which I would agree with, and that the bigger banks are better prepared, but they're still not fully prepared. And we know from these stress tests that have been done in the past that they often miss the mark. I mean, look at what happened in 2008. Look at last year's failed banks. This is a pattern. They can sit there all they want and claim that they have everything under control and that they understand their liabilities, but that is not the truth. We know that people are hurting, people are struggling, and this problem is not going to get better anytime soon, especially not as individual and household debt continues to rise and delinquencies with it. And now we have all this phantom debt, buy now, pay later, that we can't even see, which is putting people even further in the hole. We know that this is not going to end well for the economy. Now, I don't know. We have Christmas and the New Year right around the corner, and we'll see what happens over the next couple weeks. But I've been reading that spending is expected to continue. And I've said this before and I'll say it again, but if you do not have the finances this year, consider doing crafts, writing cards, baking something. There's a lot of different ways that you can show your love and appreciation for someone without having to go into extreme amounts of debt. That makes me terribly sad for the American public that this is what it's come to. Because ultimately, again, we know the people in power, they don't actually care about us. These regulators, these banks, Wall Street, they are just looking for their bottom line. And the Fed is just looking for a win here. Everyone just wants to see that the economy is growing on paper, but they're not looking deeper at what's really happening, what's really going on with Americans. And if you do look deeper, it is clear we are in trouble. Now, I don't want to be a downer going into the holiday season. There's a lot to be thankful for. I just don't want to sit by idly and have us all be gaslit about the reality of what's going on in American households. That's it. Now, I am sure that there's going to be a lot more on this. We are going to see the fallout and the impact of all of this holiday spending and how it's going to impact not only households, but the American economy. And I have a feeling that once we get through this holiday season and into the beginning of next year, we are going to see a serious slowdown in the consumer spending that supposedly has been strong in keeping the economy afloat. And we're really going to start to feel the impact. So we'll see. And I will absolutely keep you posted. In the meantime, thank you all so much for being here. If you haven't already, make sure to like and subscribe. We have a ton of great content and more coming out consistently around these topics. And as always, I'm Taylor Kenny with ITM Trading, your trusted source for all things gold, silver, and lifelong wealth protection. Until next time.